Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another 4201. I'm one of your hosts, Asa Kennedy. This is the 29th of June, 2021. And here with me, as always, the former Twilight Princess of all games, the current Twilight Princess of YouTube, the former CEO of Xbox, the man of many names, but we just call him one, Andy.
Mr. Andy Uka here, as always. And it's very warm today, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
oh my god. I was eating an ice cream.
For Scotland, eating ice
Till
cream.
11 at night.
I'm so warm. The house itself is baking. Even though this is live from the sauna, it's not as orange tonight. Usually it's more orange.
No,
It's not because of this camera.
More orange in alley shop.
Need more orange in
Must
here.
be, maybe you changed the light bulb. Change the light bulb.
No, these are all new. It's literally because the camera matches the colour around here, I think. Like all the lights are new. Like there's LED bulbs up here. This is brighter than the sun. And then the kitchen's quite dull. Don't know. Maybe because my phone's on next to me. Let's turn that over. Not much of a change. Maybe revert.
Nope.
Anyway, we are back. Weekly podcast time. We've had change-ups in the show. Going forward. Did you do Bloodborne yesterday? Such a houk. So,
Too much football. Too much football's on. Oh, the orange is back!
Andy hates gaming
You
now.
took the ice cream. It's the ice cream. When you took the ice cream away, it went on. Yes, it's the ice cream.
It is.
It's the ice cream. What the fuck? That's bizarre. That is very strange indeed.
So, yes. Tuesdays we're always going to do the podcast, Friday we're always going to do news, but content's changing here. We're going to do like a monthly pick-em-ups video, payday pickups sort of thing, name TBD. Apart from that,
Probably
nothing. Payday pickups is a decent name, isn't it? Probably payday pickups will do. It's usually, that's how we name things, the first thing. That would do, won't it? Yeah. Payday pickups. I'm looking forward to doing that one. It's annoying because I wanted to talk to Andy about some of the stuff I've picked up and I'm like, I want to save it for the video. So it's going to be this format, just very similar to this, maybe slightly shorter form, depending how much we've got to talk about the items. And I like those videos, so that'll be cool. I made an attempt to compile. This is like we said, short form videos and the news, like our guides to and shit like that. Like it's very difficult to put that stuff together. It's so time consuming even to edit down a significant, even a 10-second piece of footage, and it's like, where do I cut to that? What point do I cut to that? So hats off to the guys that do this like daily. Again, a lot of these people, it's their jobs, but when they were doing it for free like us, it's like that stuff's not easy. Really not easy, especially, well, it's maybe easier if you don't have a wife, a house, a full-time job and 2 kids. There's people that manage it, sure, but I can't juggle that many things in the air, so I'm working on it. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but you're still going to get the weekly podcast and the news anyway. And here we are for the podcast, would you believe it? Hooray! So
I would believe it because we're here every Tuesday for like 9 years.
9 years, man. 9 years. Hashtag professionals. I'm actually eating it's a Cadbury's Buttons Cornetto style thing. I did buy them for Lexi, but she didn't want them. She says don't like them. So it's basically just vanilla, like with wee chocolate buttons all the way through down it. So it's awesome to me. I mean, it's vanilla ice cream. There's chocolate at the bottom from here down, which is what we all eat Cornettos for, as you know, Andy. So yeah, fine.
See, my wee one doesn't eat the chocolate at the bottom. She likes the strawberry cornettos, but she'll only eat it to the bottom, and she won't eat the chocolate on the bottom. She doesn't like it.
Lexi likes it. All of it. Same here. But I'd never seen these ones before. They were actually...
Didn't like it.
They're actual Dairy Milk buttons.
Yeah, I've not seen those before.
They're in Spa tonight.
This is now an ASMR channel.
Okay. Once I've eaten this, I'm not eating anything else in the show. I'm not even going to apologise. It's a good ice cream. So warm. I'm listening.
Oh,
Plus,
it's very warm.
I've been actual drinking tonight. Oh, that's the show. Fucking...
Oh my god, where's the red wine? Where's the red wine?
It doesn't make a difference. I think it only affects you if you're monetized, really.
Yeah, oh, I wasn't meaning that. I was meaning more like, where's your red wine? We're
No.
going off the rails!
No, like it's been a long week at work, short staffed and such. So like Friday we've got like 3 staff. That's it. All day. One of them's been phoned from Kilmarnock. So I'm just really tired, and I thought, do you know what, I could have done a beer on Monday night because that was the first day being short staffed, and then I knew it was even worse coming in today. So I was like, can't do one today. And I don't drink as much anymore, so I was like, do you know what, I'm off on Wednesday, it's my only day off till like next Tuesday. So I bought 6 beers, I was going to buy 12. I thought if I buy 12, I'm going to drink them all, and I've got the kids myself tomorrow, and I'm going to feel horrible. So I bought 6 normal Becks and 6 of the Becks no beer, whatever they're called, or the Beck's Blue. Because I know I will want more than 6 beers, especially when it's a bottle, because it's not even a pint, as you know. So you drink 6 easily, and you're like, still got a taste, so Beck's Blue will do me for the end of the night. But yes,
I find every time I have a drink now, like just in the house, I'll have one, and that's it. 1 drink. That does me. It's fine.
I've had 3, but I mean, Beck's is like 4% alcohol. I've 8 stronger tasting oranges, to be fair. I just had a taste for a beer, and being honest, because I've drank Beck's Blue that long, these don't taste as nice as the Beck's Blue. But anyway, here we are. This week in games has been funny for me. Made me consider some things, Andy, that I'm not going to do, and you know I've been through this with you before, and you've been like, don't do it. I played a lot of Switch, and I said to myself, there's enough games that I've left untapped here, like barely touched, like Fire Emblem, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like loads of them that are really solid games, and PlayStation and Nintendo just keep flashing me different things, and I'm like, oh, back to the main consoles I go. And it's been like that since launch. Obviously you get exceptions to the rule, like your Mario Odysseys when they drop, your Breath of the Wilds when they drop, but I thought, could I, and I'm not going to, so don't panic, could I be a Nintendo only gamer? Like, that's been going through my head. No, listen to it, because
Okay.
really, how much time do I spend in mainline console games these days?
I mean, some of the games that you're playing, you could play them on Switch, like your Dragon Quest and stuff like that. You could
Dragon
play
Quest.
that on Switch.
Guardians is
Mass
coming.
Effect,
Control.
Mass Effect on Switch.
I've finished Mass Effect. That's not a main swear. Mass Effect 3 is on Wii U, but like I could
You're just not getting the big game, so like there's no Battlefield, no Call
No,
of
I know,
Duty.
but again, Call of Duty I'm not buying this year. How much time have I put in ice hockey for the past 3 years since Lexi was born? Little. WWE I've stopped buying, UFC I've stopped buying, Fortnite's on my Switch. It's playable. It's not great, but it's playable. So, do you know what? I came to the conclusion that obviously I'm not going to do it like I said at the start of this, but you could do it. It's doable. There's enough there. There's enough content. Like, what you would need to do is just step away from the Netflix and Game Pass mindset and just go back into the right, this is my game for this month, and I've got Fortnite and such if I want to play something to kill the rest of the time. And you've got Splatoon's a solid shooter as well, so you've got like Splatoon and Fortnite there. I'm sure Apex and stuff's there as well, but
Yeah, Apex is there. Yeah. I think if you're a kid, then yeah, it's totally legitimate. You could do that. But I think if you're
I've got 2.
well, if you are a child,
Oh,
if there's-
That's my wife.
for a kid to play, then yeah, they could get away with playing just Switch, fine. But for a grown-up gamer, I don't think that you could get away.
But again, that's me reverting back to like, I am a grown-up gamer, but at the same time, it's easier to put down a Nintendo game midway and go, oh, fuck it. Whereas putting down something like Mass Effect midway, it's like, I can't stop right here. Sometimes you get that in more adult games. And then you've still got like your Monster Hunter Rises, which are exclusive stuff. I'm not going to do it, but I genuinely think it could be done if I set my mind to it and went, do you know what? I'm trading in PS5. What I would need to do, 100%, is get a Switch Lite to accompany it. I couldn't just have the standard Switch. I would then need to keep my main Switch docked all the time, and I would need to have a Switch Lite because I know it's first world problems, but I don't find the Switch, it's heavy and stuff, and like the Switch Lite just seems more compact and designed for handheld, you know, like what I mean is lunchtime at work, on like not on the way to work because I don't get the bus, but you know what I mean, those sort of circumstances, Switch Lite, holiday Switch Lite. You don't want to take your main console, so that would be the only caveat that I would say is I would need a secondary Switch. But then, like, Nintendo do still, like, it's just looking at their release schedules, like, see, every year since Switch came out, as much as we moan about shovelware, they've got a solid schedule for each season. Like, you've got your, spring, summer, autumn, winter, or fall, winter in America. And spring,
apart from last year. Last year was terrible. It was like Animal Crossing.
Last year, a lot of stuff get delayed though, and that's COVID. But regardless of that, normal years, Switch is coming into like it's 4.5 years old now, so it's like, or it's come to 4.5. 4.5 years, and like we pointed out in the charts this week, 6 out of the 10 games are Switch, a 4.5-year-old console, and we discussed this the other day. I'll talk about it here because I don't have too many games to play, and we won't speak as in depth in the news, but. The Switch is actually, and this was just random ramblings of me during the week, the Switch is actually only 17 million, I know say only, but it's the Switch, it's still going, 17 million off of the lifetime sales of the Wii, right? Which is insane, because we all know how well that sold. So, like, see when people are like, oh, Switch Pro's coming, and me and Andy came to the conclusion, well, Andy decided, I agree with him, that there's not going to be a Switch Pro. It's going to be a Switch Pro in, like, internal SKU code, basically. That's their internal name for a soft revision. You know, it's not going to do anything better. It's maybe got slightly better chipset, such like. So, when you think about it, this is halfway through 2021. We're not getting a Switch Pro this year. Yeah? We're all in agreement. At most, we could get it announced at E3 next year and released next Christmas. But at that stage, what's the point? Why?
Yep, totally.
Why do it this far into the life cycle? You might as well just make a new console. I'm not saying the new console wouldn't be backwards compatible, because I think that would be a silly move for them not to with the Switch library. I think it's a must that they have to get your digital purchases onto the new one as well. So I think the Switch rides out the 6 years like the Wii, minimum. I think 6 years the Switch is going, which would take it up through next year. Do you know what I mean? So March 2023, it becomes 6 years old. Same age as the Wii at the end. Now, when the Wii was finishing up, it still had like games coming for it. You know, it still had titles releasing. People were still buying those games. Just Dance, I believe, is still getting released on the Wii. But the Switch, it's a different level of popularity, because you pointed out that it was a flash in the pan. Like, people that weren't gamers were the ones that jumped on it, but the Switch has been adopted by both the kind of not really gamers and kids, and gamers like us, and the PC crowd. They kind of tend to adopt Nintendo also. So it's cool, the audience the Switch has got, and it's not slowing down. It's not like hardware's like slowing. Like, it's still a steady pace for hardware sales. And I mean, this is what I said that I reckon they do. Soft revision either this year or maybe even next winter, like Andy said, and that's your Switch Pro. A bit like I've got the new Switch, better battery in it. They just improve the battery, do some quality of life improvements, but no redesign. They do some more Switch Lite colours, because it's about time we got some more. Maybe brighter colours away from the pastel ones, you know, like neon or something. Give some more options. Drop like 4 or 5 new colours, even 3. And the Switch can easily coast through next year with Breath of the Wild 2, I would assume, being at 3 at some point, maybe not. And then you've got Metroid 4 Prime. Here's my prediction for Metroid Prime. It's going to be The Last of Us for Switch. It will release on Switch and the Switch's successor. That's my prediction for it at this point. We've seen nothing for it. It's been restarted so many times. I think it comes to Switch because they promised it would come to Switch, but I think it's going to be a case of like Breath of the Wild for the Wii U and the Switch.
Maybe.
How insightful. Do you not see the same?
I just saw your door open there. I'm like,
it wasn't. No, it was Tasha.
No.
So
I just expected like somebody creeping up behind you with a knife, and I was just debating whether I would warn you or not.
Probably still could be, Tasha. But no. I see them definitely. There's no point after looking at the figures, the sales figures overall for the Switch, considering what still runs on it. But no mention of the Pro at all. I'm now thinking at this point in the Switch's life, there's no point in ending it or extending it with a Pro. I think the Switch will do until the 6-year mark. I think by the 5-year mark, it'll be even worse, like with the PlayStation games hitting the full flow and the Xbox games hitting the full flow for the current gen, or next gen as some people call it. I definitely think we're going to see a marked difference that me and you have already noticed. But again, Nintendo aren't the guys for it's 4K, it's 60. That's not what they do. That's not their goal. Their goal is to make solid titles with well-known franchises that they own, and that's it. And they're not sloppy. Nintendo genuinely don't tend to make sloppy things these days. They've almost got an Apple-like quality about the premium feel of their products. You know, when you first get a Nintendo product, it always feels nice. It's like, this feels like a good piece of tech. It's well built for a quote-unquote kid's toy, you know, if you look at it that way. So,
the Wii U wasn't. The Wii U.
The Wii U, absolutely. You're talking absolute nonsense, because you didn't, like, you bought the white one, right? I bought the black premium model that felt like a bit of tech that was absolutely
exact same.
It's not the color. The color changes everything, Andy. Right? So the white one felt cheap and nasty.
The black is worse, because the black picks up the scratches much worse than what the white one does.
No, day one it didn't. So I'm talking about taking that out the box. You've got this screen. It was amazing. If there was no Wii U, there'd be no Switch. It was a phenomenal piece of design. I like my Wii U. I've had 3. I'm on my 3rd. I've still got it. I like my Wii U, and so did you at the time. You defended it, and you're now jumping on internet bandwagon if you disagree.
It was okay for like a year or two. Like,
it was a good console.
After Smash, it was useless.
To you. But there were some incredible games there. I know they've moved them now to Switch, but the Wii U was just mismarketed. That's the biggest problem for the Wii U, I personally think. Mismarketed. So what they need to do is not call it the Switch U, the next one, but they need to keep the Switch name, because now the Switch it goes with the Nintendo. I would say it's almost up there with like Nintendo 64. It rolls off the tongue. Switch. The Wii.
You know what they call the next one?
The Wii,
next one
the Switch U.
The Switch. No, the Switch. So it'll be the Switch, but with 2 eyes in it. So it'll be like 2. So it'll be the Switch.
Don't put that in the universe, because someone...
That'll be... No, because that'll have a callback to the Wii. It'll also have a 2 in it, because it's II, so it's 2. And obviously it retains the Switch, so there's like 3 tentpoles of Nintendo right there. That's what they're calling it, the Switch. The Nintendo Switch. That's it.
I could see this happening. You know, I don't see it beyond the... I mean, Nintendo don't care. People are going to buy Nintendo stuff. Even the Wii U only selling 13 million units for lifetime. They don't care. They're going to move on. They've got enough money. Like, obviously, at some point, the shareholders will care, but I don't think they're as beholden to that. I think Nintendo have still got that inventive quality about them, where they don't have to follow a cookie cutter guideline when they're releasing games or consoles. I know they do for certain things. Mario has to be Mario, Zelda has to be Zelda, but their consoles themselves, initially, like the Wii, motion control. The Wii U, there's your tablet. That's the prequel to the Switch, basically. Your Switch, it is what the Wii U should have been, you know. Just 64 again was double the bits back then, when everything else, Saturn and PlayStation, was just 32-bit, you know. 64 took the 64-bit. Nintendo have always kind of innovated. I don't expect them just to ever release a box like the Series X, no offense to the Series X, but Nintendo will never come out with a console now that's, there it is, it's the Nintendo.
They did it. They did that. They did the GameCube. Yeah, the GameCube.
But even with that, it was a cube, and it had a handle, and it was purple, and the GameCube didn't say well. But it wasn't just a bog standard, here's your black box, yeah, it's basically a PC now, play it. Nintendo's always...
It was a great... Yeah, it was a great little box, and like the controller was good and everything, but like it just...
It didn't take off. No, it didn't take off, but... that was the kind of first foray into discs, and for some reason instead of DVDs they went for those like mini CD things that were just, it was stupid. They're the worst. Like, it's unreal how many scratches those little things can get in the pre-owned market. But going back to cartridges was a bold decision for them on the Switch, in my opinion, and it's paid off. What you can get in a cartridge now, and like what annoys me is that everything that you can get on like the Witcher cartridge, and then you get other things that you know the game's only like 8 GB, and it's like, The Witcher did it. Why are you saying internet download required, Tony Hawk's, when I know how big the file size is? You can fit it on the cart. Like, it's just sheer laziness, and it's bad for game preservation, because all you're basically buying is a physical unlock key for the game when you're downloading most of it. So yeah, anyway.
So the reason they do that is actually to save money, right? So the cartridge sizes on the Switch come in like different sizes. is the thing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it does.
Some of them are 64 gig, but I think they go down to like 4 gig for some games.
Yeah, so it's cost cutting.
Yeah, and obviously the smaller ones are cheaper. So
but
the
again,
download space and bandwidth is probably cheaper for them to get from Nintendo than paying.
It is, but again, it's no good. It's no good for, like, see, years down the line when the Switch servers are turned off, and you put in a cartridge and it's like connect online to download your game. You're like, so. For collectors out there, what might be a handy thing to do is research what games are fully on the cart and collect only those if you plan on handing this down to your grandkids. That's what I would say. But anyway, I spent ages on my Switch. I think it's still a phenomenal console, and I did what I haven't done in ages by I plugged it in the dock. Do you know what? It's not the Switch Pro controller is great. I can't lie about it. Switch is handier in handheld, like playing at night time when it is your secondary console. But like the past week, I've just been playing on Switch. When it is the secondary console, it tends to be the handheld option, and like you'll play it when you're watching your YouTube video after your PlayStation or Xbox session, or you'll play it in bed once you're finished and you'll play your Switch. That's generally when I play my Switch 9 times out of 10. Well, no, 10 times out of 10 up until like this week, basically, when I've put it in the TV. There's the odd time when a game will come out and I'll put it in the dock just to see what the game looks like when it's upscaled. I actually, on my 4K HDR, blah, blah, I have to turn off HDR and stuff because HDR with Nintendo colours, it's just so I find sometimes the games look better in handheld. It covers up a lot more of the flaws than stretching it out on the big 55-inch TV that I've got. So seeing it on the big screen compared to handheld, sometimes I'm like, I can notice the frames per second a bit more obvious playing it this way. So handheld's definitely the preferred way. But no, I put it on the big screen. Nintendo first party titles are generally spot on, which will lead me into my first game that I played this week, which was Mario Golf. They just released Andy. Mario Golf Super Rush, I believe it's called. I didn't sink as much time, see what I did there, as I wanted to in this game, mostly because of another game that I decided, you know what, I'm going to get into you again. Mario Golf plays really well. It's fundamentally sound. It would be great multiplayer. Motion works as you would like it to, like similar to the Wii. Like you swing, it goes, and it's maybe a wee bit more accurate, obviously, because this is obviously more advanced motion controls, but it's fun. I love hitting some perfect shots and sending the videos to Fraser saying fear me. You can check them out on Twitter. I was quite happy with those shots. Me and Fraser are indeed playing for streaming purposes. I believe it's July, so I believe in 2 weeks time we're going to be doing that as a joint video. So it's 42X Found Games or whatever it is. Big Found. I never get it right, do I? I never get Fraser's channel right. Big fan of it.
Big fan.
And we'll be going head to head, and I think just standard golf, but we'll try out the other modes as well, because I only had a short go, because a lot of this game, right, so the career mode we'll talk about in a minute, but see a lot of the other options, they're more like for like if me and you played, or me and Fraser played, or a group of us played. I think when you're playing against the CPU or randoms online, it's not quite as fun. So that's like your rush golf, your battle golf. Didn't try battle golf. I tried speed golf, which is basically the 4 of you stand, it goes, you tee off, and then you just run to your ball, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was battle golf, but that's a whole nother thing that I've not even touched yet. A lot of people online were complaining about the lack of modes. Sure, I get it. However, the suite of options they've given you, including a whole campaign mode.
Like I was thought there was a campaign mode, so that seems like plenty of modes. Full
RPG campaign and about 6 or 7 options to go online with. For me, in a golf game, I don't need much more.
That's all you need.
Sorry? That's all you need. Yeah, that's all you need. I've got a way to play online with you, play online with. I know you don't have it yet, but like you might not get it. But like, there's a way for me and Fraser to play. There's a way for like. Well, that's fine, but do you know what I mean? I'm using it as an example. There's a way for me to play, and there's a variety of modes that would keep it fun. There's enough courses. Like and they're like, well, there's not enough courses in a fucking golf game. It's generally the screen is mostly green for the grass. There's an arrow to the hole, and it's not. Do you know what I mean? I get it if they were complaining about Tiger Woods, like 2K golf, PGA, that's the word I'm looking for. Because then, yes, you're on the real courses. You maybe want to see Troon Beach, whatever, do you know what I mean? But it's the Mushroom fucking Kingdom. Like, it's Mario Golf. How many variations of mushrooms do you fucking need? Like, as long as like not every game of golf's going to be exactly the same either. So do you know what I mean? Practicing the courses.
No.
It's a golf course. There's green, there's bunkers, there's slopes, there's dips, there's a putting green, and there's the bit where you hit it off, and then there's the bushes at the side. Yeah. That's a golf game. So anyway, those niggles aside, here's what I will say to those people, because I don't give a shit about it. I think it's fun. It is fun. Everyone said it's fun, but folk are moaning about these things. If you ever played Mario Tennis, and I did because I'm a fan of the tennis games as well, and Mario Tennis is really nicely done. Day one, you had the same fucking complaints, and what did Nintendo do? They did what they said they would do, and they did this before Mario Golf. They've already said there's more courses we're working on because they want to treat it as a quote-unquote kind of service game to keep people coming back. Yeah. So with Mario Tennis, they drip-fed new tournaments, they drip-fed new characters, they drip-fed new courses, and it's to keep people coming back. This is what they said they were doing with this game at the start. They already announced was it New Donk City, I believe, that they showed off.
Oh, yeah.
So we already know we're at least getting that new and close to launch. Just have patience, because what they want you to do is go, look at what we've created, have fun with the mechanics, enjoy it with your friends. Okay, here's a new mode for you. Here's a new tournament style thing. This is what they did, and they're like, there's no bracket cup for the golf with the online play. There wasn't for the tennis either, but it got added. Like, just look at the structure. Sorry, but yeah, this is the argument that people had with the tennis game, and I'm like, the tennis game's fun. Like, I don't get it. Like, anyway. So the golf's just as fun, really competently made. The sort of adventure, is it adventure mode it's called? You start as a rookie, you're watching Mario win the golf cup, and I don't know if that ties into like a previous game. And older Mario games, golf games, from what the ones I remember playing, you played as one of the main characters. It was like Mario, Luigi, blah blah. I'm not the biggest fan of Mii's, but I don't mind it in this situation. And the cool thing is the way they introduced the Mario characters, it almost feels like they're building to the A team. And I know you'll take offense to that in a minute, but like, so you're standing there and you've got like one of the Koopalings, you've got somebody else, and they're your golf buddies instead of like Mario, Luigi, and Peach. You're starting out with them from the bottom, so then that's giving you an excuse. So you've got your hub world, which kind of feels more like it might be Moo Moo Farm. It might be Moo Moo Farm Golf Course, because it feels like Moo Moo Farm, and that's the course from Mario Kart 64.
Mario Kart, yeah.
So it definitely feels like you're walking about a farm. It may well be that. I'll confirm that next week. But yeah, so you go through and you do your practice. Here's how to swing. Here's how to like all this stuff you skip through, because basically I'm hitting and hoping it's a golf game. Let's be honest. Aim a wee bit. Like, so then you get introduced to your first Mario character, and this is when you're going to take offense. So it's Toad, and that's what I mean. He's not a top A player. I know he's one of your favourites, but he's no Mario. He's no Luigi. Even Wario's edged Toads out these days, do you know, and he's no Peach. So that's that. I would say those are the big three. They're like your Trinity, or even Quadrology if you include Wario. Maybe even Yoshi, I would say, edges out Toad slightly. He's always kind of in the sidelines. So the cool thing is you're meeting Toad.
Toad is king. Toad is king.
You're meeting Toad as kind of your first. Oh wow! And I generally had a moment of, oh, it's Toad. Is it? And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But you know, they've done it in a good way, where it's not just like, you're Mario, win the golf tournament. You're your own Mii. You're playing with like the lesser Mario characters with Koopalings and Bowser's kid and stuff like that. And and Birdo's one of the rookies as well, and like they're not main Mario characters in any walk of life, but the fact that the Toad then comes along and goes, hey, I'll be cheering you on your first tournament. It's almost as if they're going to have like 4 or 5 tournaments, and each one it's going to have a different pro there shouting you on, and I guess I'm going to have to play against Toad to advance to the next stage after my tournament. This is all fine for me, and like there's actual free roam bits where you can walk about, chat to folk at the farm, practice shots, you know, if you want to do that, go to your next course. That's all fine with me. Club selection, blah blah, all that stuff. It's golf, Mario Golf, and it works, and there's online modes. Like, what more do you want? Like, it's not a £70 game.
Fine.
It's fine is the best way to describe it. Is it a better golf game than PGA 2K? Yeah, it is, because it's made by Nintendo. It feels fun. Like,
yeah, fun. I think that's your key word there. It's fun. That's all you need.
So anyway, that was Mario Golf. So what else did I play? I chipped a wee bit more away at Samus Returns. Don't have too much more to say about that, but that game's amazing. Tonight I did fire in another game before I talk about my main game this week. Monster Hunter Stories 2, which I've decided I'm not going to get, and playing the demo confirmed it for me. It looks kind of like an anime. This game's a JRPG, whereas like your Monster Hunter main games are kind of third-person action game, I would call them maybe. It plays into... compared to the original Monster Hunter stories, it felt like completely separate. Completely. This one kind of plays into... There's hunters in this world, but we're the Monstie riders... Because they call them the Monsties, and it's explained. It's explained. It's explained. Right. So basically, the start of this, there's a cutscene of a girl trying to get an egg out of Rathalos' nest, and the Rathalos isn't attacking her. What's wrong? What's wrong with that, Rathalos?
No. I thought you were going to say something else there. There's a cutscene of a girl trying to get her egg out of her Rathalos, and I'm like, what's the final word in this sentence? It's very
Nest.
key to how this...
Rathalos nest, yeah, this could take a dark turn. No, she's trying to get the egg, and all of a sudden, like, a group of guys come with, like, kind of like Monster Hunter armor. What is Monster Hunter armor? They're wearing that, and they start shooting at the Rathalos and think they're helping. So it flashes forward and it shows you all the Rathalos flying overhead, and you're like, what's going on? And the riders in this game, they kind of wear more like feathered outfits, and they look kind of more island tribal based than when you play Monster Hunters itself. You feel more like you're knights of the kingdom, and you're kind of going out defending, you're killing monsters in the forest and such like. And in the first Monster Hunter game, Stories game in the 3DS, from what I played, it felt just more like a kind of spin-off, whereas this kind of plays into it. It's kind of parallel to, not Rise, because it doesn't directly tie in, but it plays parallel to the main Hunter story, because in Monster Hunter Stories, I didn't play enough to see hunters or any other things. I just thought it was a different take, whereas in this version of Monster Hunter, they catch them and they ride on top of them. Fine. But in this one, because the hunters are there, and they're like, what have you done? You've scared away the sacred Ratha, I think they call it, which is the Rathalos. And they're like, Rathalos are bad. They were attacking people, blah, blah. And he's like, not that one. It's stayed in that cave for years. It's protected island. You don't know what you're doing. Weapons are forbidden here. This is not how we treat the monsters where we are. And I'm like, this is cool. I like this take on it. I like that it showed me a different side of the Monster Hunter world. I like that it's showing me that the riders and the hunters don't really always get on with each other. That's fine. Then I'm playing it, and it's kind of open worlds. It's not as open as Rise or Monster Hunter World, but it's kind of open. You're seeing monsters roaming. You to get told that you can ride on a monster, so you're riding along, blah, blah. And then it has the combat, and... the combat is not its strength. It's turn-based JRPG combat, which is fine. Yeah. Which is fine. However, they make it blatantly clear that it is rock, paper, scissors. So that's not the combat I want. I want normal attack. I want magic attack. That's what I want. And what this has got is you go to fight, and it's got like power, technical, and speed move. And you basically have to get the one that beats the one that your opponent's going to use. So say your power, if he's power, you want to do speed, but it's not always obvious what move the monster's going to make every time, because it's like, oh, he's frequently using speed, switch to technical, and I'm like, okay. Oh, he's used a different move that we didn't expect. Try and counter him. And then it's like, now the fucking monster's picked up a rock. You can't hit him while he's holding a rock. And I'm like, I can see his face. He's got a big raptor face hanging over. It's like a little coconut he's holding. So then she's like, take this hammer because your sword won't break a rock. And I'm like, why can't I just hit him in the legs with a sword? So anyway, this is what I mean. So then I was like, the reason I wrote it off was simply because Zelda's out in like 2 weeks. It was nothing to do. Need a wider Venn diagram. Gordon Fiala says that. A Venn diagram for what? Are you talking about my kids' drawings? What's a Venn diagram? Like a pie chart? Like this? This is Lexi's sunset. This is a dinosaur.
I don't think he's talking about that. He must be talking about the game that you're playing. Venn diagram. Did we talk about Venn diagram at all? I'm
not sure. I don't think it's a Venn diagram. Is a Venn diagram not like one of those charts that goes down? I don't know. Anyway,
it's the Venn diagram's it's the chart where there's like the two circles and then there's one in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, anyway, is it maybe the hand movements I was doing? This is more like the Triforce. It looks like the stones or the I don't know. Anyway,
If you want to elaborate in the comments, please let us know.
yeah. So where was I? So yeah, attacking them didn't feel fun. Then he's like, break the coconut. Or sorry, it's not coconut. It's a stone. It was a rock, right? So I break the rock, which takes like 2 or 3 turns, and I'm like, this isn't fun. And if there's more and more monsters out there that can pick up stones and do this and use it like a shield, then why do I want to do it? Do you know what would have been much, much better for this game? If they took this twist, if you will, on Monster Hunter and just made it play like the third person game and had it action adventure, this would have been much more entertaining. Making it JRPG, just, it doesn't resonate really the way that they've brought it across, because I've been playing some Dragon Quest a lot recently, and it's great. It's a great example of a JRPG. So it's Final Fantasy. Those two are basically the kings of JRPGs, I would say, and don't think many people would argue with that. Well, people would argue, it's the internet, but Gordon Fiala's the way, so I don't know what you mean, but I need wider Venn diagram. Maybe he's talking about the attacks in Monster Hunter stories, maybe, because when you hit fight, it is like 3 circles, but it's, like I said, it's more like the Triforce, it's like that. It's,
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, like this sort of thing. Like if my eye's the third one, and you just swap it round like that. It's not really a Venn diagram. Okay. So yeah, anyway, I think it would have done much better, and I would have been, I'm sold in this if it was more, the way that it looks. See if the battle was just like, I can attack. I don't mind riding on top of the monster to get places to get, that's the whole point, and befriending them. You can hatch them, you can breed them, that sort of thing, you know, you can choose what monster comes with you. So but the JRPG mechanics just didn't sit well with me, and especially when it was so blatantly like, this could be random if this is going to be the attacky moves, and I know that it's going to get annoying in bosses where they can attack with all 3 of the, you know, do you know what it reminded me of? I went, this is fucking Alex Kidd and the fucking rock scissor paper man, who you have to kind of just randomly guess, and I'm like, because this is all they're going to do. There's going to be certain monsters that are speed ones that you just beat easily with power, technical ones that you beat easily with speed, you know, that sort of thing, and then the fucking bosses are just going to be random. I can attack you with anything, so hope you guess right, or you're doing 1 damage to me and I'm going to take 50 off of you. It looks nice. I wish that it had different gameplay. Which is a shame, but again, like I said to you, because I'm playing through 1 Dragon Quest just now, and I've put Dragon Quest 11 on hold, I can't fit in another JRPG when I know it's going to be tough enough in 2 weeks' time when Zelda comes, because Zelda's a third-person RPG game. Difference is, obviously, I'm playing Dragon Quest on the 3DS, so I can fit that in. But yeah, that's all I play about Monster Hunter Stories. The good thing is, if you're into this game and you like the demo, all your progress, and this is the only way RPGs should be allowed to release demos, is if your progress carries into the main game. So this does. I know you can get at least 4 hours play out of the demo. Like it's there if you want to play. It's basically quote unquote early access. So some people are going to love this. For me, this is solidified that I don't want this game. I actually preferred the first game on the 3DS. I just think it was better. Don't know what it is. I just think this game, I was like, do you know what? This would be better if it was just like Monster Hunter Rise and I had my open world. But anyway, last but not least, what I played, and I cannot wait to play once we finish, was Smash Brothers Ultimate Andy. I've not played this game since before the first DLC. Like, I've never played Sephiroth, I've never played Steve, never played as any of them. I didn't play any mode except for classic mode, which is, and I forgot how bizarre it is that the main mode for the game's hidden in an options menu, technically. You have to go to Games and More. Like, why? Like, why do I need to go to Games and More? Why is it not the prominent one going, here's the mode you want. Here's the mode that reminds you of when you were younger and you played a game as a character in a fighting game, and he unlocked another character. Because that's what this is. This is your, say, 8 stages. You fight 2 bosses along the way. They throw in a mini platform game, as you know, Andy. And when you win, you unlock someone. And I'm actually really digging just, I know it's monotonous. I'm enjoying the controls of it, just smashing people. I don't enjoy the characters that don't have swords. I really don't like the likes of Pac-Man, Pikachu.
No reach.
No, it needs to have a sword. So see, what happens when you complete it? Say at the end you beat the boss and it beat Master Hand or whoever you're fighting for the final level. It will say a new challenger approaches, and if you lose, excuse me, and I think on purpose sometimes the character that you unlock is strong against the character that unlocks them, so that you have to retry. I definitely think so, because every time that happens, like say Jigglypuff I played through as, unlock someone, there was no way I could beat it. I fight him with Link, smashed. Fighting with Samus, smashed. So I think it's sometimes designed against the character. Unlock Dark Samus was the most recent. Dark Samus was the most recent one. That is just a cool character all over, man. That is just so badass. Ridley I want to do, but I think you have to finish the whole thing 6 times with Yoshi, which sounds a chore, but you've got 6 different coloured Yoshis. You can do red, white, black. So, do you know what? It's fine because I'm in the flow of Smash. I would still say Smash Brothers on the 3DS is my favourite Smash, and I said that even when you like the Wii U one. I've still got the Wii U one.
The Wii one was my favourite one.
No, but you like the Wii U one. Do you know what I mean? You like the Wii U one.
Good, yep. Yeah.
I like the Wii U one better than the Switch one. Even though this is Smash Ultimate, I like the Wii U one. I personally think the 3DS one's my favourite. The GameCube one is good, but I think the graphics kind of have to be there. I don't think the blockiness really for this style works for me for the 64, Smash 64 and for the GameCube. The Wii one is cool, and the Wii U one though, Super Smash Brothers I think it was called, was it Super Smash Brothers Wii U and just Super Smash Brothers 3DS I think, they were interlinking. I remember you could link them when I had it and you could send stuff from each one. They had a proper adventure mode that was kind of 2D. The whole thing was 2D instead of just having one level. I really enjoyed it. It was the first one that introduced Amiibo. Smash Brothers Ultimate is phenomenal. I actually watched eventually, Andy, the 40-minute video from Sora. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Apologies. Do you know what though? Do you know why I did it? Because this guy constantly looks more tired than me, and I've got 2 constant children. And
he's crazy. That guy. He's fucking nuts, man.
I listened to him talk about just adding Kazuya. He goes into adding one character like a normal game dev goes into making their whole game. Like he has to balance them against all. There's like 75 fucking characters now in this game, not including the DLC passes, which have got like 4 or 8 each or whatever it is. And then you've got all the Mii characters, you know, because they've got their costumes. So he was going on about Kazuya's history. He wanted to match it up. He's even added fucking 39 I'll say it again, Tekken songs to this game. So he's a big fan of gaming history, gaming music. He studied the way Kazuya moved. He studied the way that Kazuya's attacks hit. He went into so much depth, and I'm like, oh my god, you've thought about even, you know, the moves when Kazuya does the big boom boom and it kind of stuns the character. He had to redo animations when Kirby copies Kirby turns into a mini Kazuya now, and he even turns into Devil Kirby at one point. I'm like, fuck, no wonder it takes so much time for each character to be added, and no wonder the guy wants a 40-minute video on one character, because these people, he said that this is his last Smash game. He pointed out saying that Smash Brothers on the Wii U and 3DS were 10 years ago since they came out now, and he says so this has been his life's work. Smash Brothers, 10 years since the Wii U version. He said this one's been ongoing for what, 18, 19, 3 years now, because it came out 2018. 3 years, and he's been adding content constantly to this, be it like updates, be it like moveset changes, like, you know, be it new characters. And he said there's one final character coming out and they'll be out by the end of the year, and that's him done. Do I think Nintendo will kill off Smash? No. I think it'll be given to someone else to do. But this guy has poured his, as he said, his life into Smash Brothers. That's what he's made. The guy has got bags upon bags. He just looks zoned. This is all he worries about. This is what he thinks about.
He's retiring after this last DLC, mate. He's done.
He's still young enough, though, that he could take 5 to 10 years off and come back during the Switch or the Switch 2 and do another one. I think someone that obsessed with this genre and that obsessed with these characters can never be done with this fully. Even if he's just brought on as an executive producer, like he may be allowed to choose, because Nintendo are quite respectful with, you know, the old guard, if you will, with that he might be allowed to choose his successor, you know, that sort of thing, and then he might be able to be a consultant. So I don't think he's completely done with Smash. He might not make the entire of the next one himself, but he's definitely put his all into this game, and he said the next one he's done. But again, 5 years, we may only be 2 years into the Switch 2, Andy, right?
Yeah.
7 years. 7 years of doing nothing, just retiring, might be enough for him to go, I'm refreshed now.
Maybe.
I can feel the itch again. So here's what the thing is. I think, and I was listening to Kinda Funny, and they basically said the last Smash character has to be as big as Kazuya, and it's going to split people down the middle because it's the last ever Smash character. Half the people are going to absolutely love it, and half the people are going to be really disappointed because they said no one's going to please everybody. They said even if they do Sora, which has been rumoured for years, as you know, Andy, Sora is going to disappoint some people. But Tim came up with a good suggestion, Andy, and I kind of liked what he said. You know how they done the Xenoblade character, and it was kind of half. It was like I don't know if it's called Shadow Characters, but you play as the two of them. You can swap between them. The summon and the guy. Well, and he said, you've got Street Fighter, you've now got Tekken. Why don't they do Scorpion and Sub-Zero as one character? And like you can call Scorpion in as your special move and stuff. Then all three of the main fighting games are represented. The guy that makes this is known to love fighting games. Mortal Kombat's got its popularity because of its marketing. I think I would prefer Sora, but there's going to be people complaining he's a sword-based character. Is he going to be able to have any of the summons because they're all Disney-based? It's all licenses there, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Who knows?
That's probably why you don't have Sora.
Do you know what was kind of disappointing to me? Because if you have Sora, they would want. I bet you they asked for Sora.
Goofy and
They
Mickey,
want you want Donald, maybe not as much Mickey, but definitely Donald and Goofy.
Yeah, Donald. Yeah,
You want them as a summon, and if they've said no, then he's going to be like, well, how the fuck's he going to work in my game? It's only half a character. So anyway, and because he was co-designed by Disney might have the final say on it to Square. Like, nope.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, Kazuya's out in half an hour, and over here, even though it said the 29th, Andy, it's America. It's the 29th, but it's worldwide release simultaneously for Kazuya. So here it's midnight. America will be like what 6 p.m, 5 p.m, or whenever it is. But anyway, Kazuya, he said something during the presentation. That's why I brought up watching it. He said, "Here's the Min Min one, from ARMS, because Min Min was one of the DLC. Yeah. Horrible game, horrible character. However, he said, I have no more Amiibo announcements to make. He said, I think it would be very strange for Nintendo to make an Amiibo of Kazuya, and he laughed. And I went, is that you disappointing us? Because it sounds like that. And I'm sorry, but didn't Nintendo make the Ryu and Ken?
Yeah.
Like, you can buy them. So what's the difference with them making like Kazuya standing there?
Yeah.
Like, Ryu's got a karate suit, and he's got his gloves on and a head. Like, Kazuya's practically got the same on as Ryu.
Maybe it's like a devil thing. Because maybe
he doesn't have to be devil form. You could just have Kazuya standing.
But you would want that. Like, you would want the two, and you would want the normal, and you'd want the devil.
Not necessarily, nah. Because then you would want Dark Ryu if you looked at it that way. Because Dark Ryu is just, it's like his devil form.
I mean, it's not as cool looking though as like.
It is
the devil form for Kazuya.
It is, but anyway, like, regardless of what you're saying, they've got Ridley who practically looks like a devil.
I mean, it's an alien.
Yeah, but he looks like a purple devil. Kazuya's a purple devil. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I don't understand it. I personally don't understand. Like, if that's what he was getting at, which it definitely sounded like, it would be pretty strange for Nintendo. And that's when Tim mentioned doing Mortal Kombat. I went, if they're not doing Kazuya, there's no way they're touching Mortal Kombat. And like, the reason I don't think they'll do Mortal Kombat is how the hell would he add fatalities in? Because he would have to, because he just pays respect to the homage to the entire game. Like, do you know what's the cool thing about Kazuya? He's the first character in Smash history not to have a victory fanfare when he wins, like a do 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 do. Do you know what they got? The original Tekken announcer to go, Kazuya Mishima wins, and that's all it says when he wins. And I'm like, that's fucking attention to detail. He's even get poses from Tekken 1 when he wins, Tekken 2, Tekken 5, like, it's so cool. So I'm glad, because I've not been excited about Smash after the first 6 months when I got it. So I'm glad about this hype train that I've given myself about Smash for some reason. I do love Tekken, and the fact that in half an hour I'm going to play Kazuya in Smash, it's going to feel so weird. I'm interested because apparently he's a lot heavier than Ryu, because I played as Ryu in it, and I just want to see how his moves translate into Smash, because most other guys have got like quote unquote Smash moves, whereas he's got a designated proper fighting set, because even Ryu and Ken felt like they just fit with Smash. But Kazuya seems completely the opposite. Like, he's got takedowns, he's got your throws that you've used since Tekken 1, you know, your triangle, circle, square, X moves. So I'm interested to see how he plays. I could hate him by next week, but we'll find out then. So that is all I played. It was literally Smash Brothers. Andy, I spent a lot of my weekend playing Smash Brothers. Like, I played at least 5-6 hours on Saturday. So yeah, and I really enjoyed playing it. I am going to jump back into No More Heroes. That's my plan for next week, because No More Heroes 3 is on my hit list, and I need to finish No More Heroes 2, and I've not finished No More Heroes 1 since I had a Wii as one of my main consoles, which was 2005, maybe 6. So yeah, I need to finish No More Heroes 1 and 2 before 3 comes out, because it's 2 months away now. I realise we're in the midpoint of the year. I'm like, Zelda's out in fucking 3 weeks. It used to be like 5 months away, now it's out in 3 weeks. And then like I said, August comes and I've got No More Heroes, or September, sorry, and it's just all the games are going to start piling up again, so I need to dig in, finish the ones I've got loaded at the moment that I meant to play. Metroid's a slow burn. I can definitely see me getting those finished by October. My only problem is I'm taking my time, because I'm enjoying Samus Return so much. Like, I know I touched on it earlier, but I'm really enjoying, like, oh, I've got a new move now. I like the soundtrack for it. I love the atmosphere. I like playing. I don't like 3D on the 3DS, but I like playing with it and seeing an area in 3D going, that'd be cool if I liked 3D, and then turning it off, you know. So, and I watched also the Nintendo Treehouse on Metroid Dread for the reason, Andy, because I wanted to see it on my TV, because I watch most of these things on my tablet. And do you know what? I paused the game and sat with my Switch controller and just went, this is going to look fucking amazing on this TV. Just the 2.5D-ness of it, the graphics, the polish. And it's not finished, obviously, yet. They're still polishing and stuff. So, Metroid Dreads, I would say at the moment, is my most anticipated of the year. Battlefield aside, because I'm excited for Battlefield for different reasons, but my most anticipated Metroid, it's so nice looking. Anyway, that's all I played this week, and I know I gave a bit of a blah blah at the start, but so we didn't have a podcast about nothing. Andy, what did you play?
I dabbled in a few things this week, so I did play some Smash Brothers. After you were playing it, I was like, oh, like I'll put this back on and see like what I'm doing in it. And I decided to go and do the Spirit Adventure mode.
How was that? Because I forget what that's like. Because I think I played it and I don't think I enjoyed it, so I can't remember.
Basically, you're going around like collecting spirits. So you have to go and you have to fight characters, and you unlock these spirits that they call them. So basically, it's just like it's a picture of like some character from either a Nintendo game or another franchise, and it sort of joins you in the battle, but it doesn't join you in the battle. It just gives you some kind of buff. So like it says like, oh, you get plus 10 defense boost, or like minus 10% like off your HP or whatever. Like things like that. And you can like feed them by leveling them up. So you feed them like
a Tamagotchi.
No, not as advanced as a Tamagotchi.
Because they made this. This is the bit I didn't understand with Kazuya. It's like, oh, you get these spirits as well, and it's like Jin's Kazuya's son, as you know, in Tekken, and it's got like, yeah. I'm sure it was Heihachi or someone else, and I'm like, what do these mean? And you're saying I'm getting a Tamagotchi version of Jin Kazama? Like,
it's not even as advanced as a Tamagotchi though. It's just like
Jin.
It's just a stat buff. That's all it does. Like. And it does like you do kind of fill in like a collection board sort of thing where it looks like a Pokedex, where it's like, oh, you've collected like this one and you don't have any of these ones. Like there's hundreds of them. I think I'm sure I remember watching Kind of Funny reviewing the game like when it came out, and Tim got every single spirit, and there's about 800. I'm like, oh my god! And every time.
There'll be more now with DLC, obviously.
Yeah. Every time a DLC character comes out, they add more. So like, I'm sure every time when that happens, like he's gone back and he's played the game and talked about it and got all. I'm sure he's got every single spirit in the game, which is insane. But I just wanted to kind of have a bash and to see how I would get on with Smash Bros. Because I haven't played it since I got the Hori split pad. Either, and I also haven't played my Switch in probably 6 months, probably. So, it was nice to use it again, and like I played it while I was watching the football. for maybe like an hour or so. And yeah, it was fun enough. Like it was alright. I unlocked Sonic and I unlocked Pit from what's it called? Kid Icarus.
Kid Icarus. So Pit was one of the ones I unlocked on the way to Dark Samus. Because I actually googled it and I went, I don't find this as cheating. I'm like, how to unlock Dark Samus? And it's actually a set order. So like, you finish with Pit. So finish it with Pit, and then whoever he unlocks, finish it with them. I can't remember all of them, and eventually you get Dark Samus. So, it's. Do you know what? I don't think I did spend a lot of time in Smash, but now I'm like, after Kazuya, am I going to go back and play a lot of it? Depends how much I like Kazuya, really. But it is a game like Mario Kart that you throw on and go, do you know what? That passed an hour or two in the afternoon, and I really fucking had a good time, and I don't regret putting that time into it. But there's something about Smash, the collective nature of it. I don't know about the Spirit Board, but like I said, the repetition there, it was more because of enjoying it rather than because I'm like, apart from that Samus, right? So I didn't feel the need to, like, it didn't have that, just one more to get this. It felt more like, yeah, I'm enjoying the grind. That was the best way to describe it rather than, I need to do this, I need to do that. I don't know about the Spirit Board part for you, but that's what I get from Smash. It's fun for a blast. Then I want to play something more meaty.
The Spirit Board bit was frustrating at first because I only had Mario and then like two other kind of shitty characters like unlocked at the beginning. And I'm sure there's like a kind of rough order that you unlock the characters in. But I unlocked Link last night, and it's much easier with Link, like because Link has a fucking sword, like you're saying. It's so much easier just to like wachong and then poof away they go. Cool, fucking done. See you later. It's much harder to do that, I found, with Mario. Yeah, the some of the spirit things like give you kind of weird effects. Like there was one that turned me into metal, so I'm just like playing as like a fucking metal Link.
Oh, Metal! I thought Metal Mario would be cool, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it would be on whatever character, like because one of the stat buffs like turns you into metal. So like your Metal Link or Metal Mario or Metal Luigi or Metal Toad or Kirby or whoever, doesn't matter who you are, it turns you metal.
It's Toad in Smash.
Not Toad, sorry, like Pac-Man or
no,
whoever.
I'm genuinely, I didn't know if he was in Smash or not.
No, he's not. There's so many characters though. I could be forgiven for thinking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's hard to remember all of them, and there's no way I could tell you all the characters that are in Smash off the top of my head at all.
I could probably name 10. Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Snake, Sonic, Samus, Link, Donkey Kong, Zero Suit Samus, Dark Samus. I know that's cheating, but they're characters. Kazuya, Sephiroth, Cloud. I still haven't unlocked. Do you know the one I'm trying to get is Cloud? I still haven't unlocked Cloud. Have you got him unlocked, Jack?
I haven't. No, I haven't looked up how to get him. So, it's something I might like look up.
Because think of his Buster Sword. The stay the fuck away sword.
And I've got the Cloud amiibo, and like I do love Final Fantasy, so but yeah, so I did I played a couple of that's all really I played at Smash. Played a couple of other things. So I played some more Judgment, went back to that.
Yeah, good.
Really good story. I was actually encouraged to go back to that one by listening to video game purists. Because Fred, and I've heard a couple of people talk about it as well, but Fred and Trees were talking about Yakuza Like a Dragon. I was like, oh, that game was so good. Like, I want to be back in that world again. Like, because it's such a good story and stuff. And I'm like, oh, like, play Judgment. Like, I've still got Judgment. I like the story in that. Like, I can't remember why I didn't go back and play more. But it was just those other things came out and I haven't been back to it yet. So I went back into that and played that for a bit. Great game. Like, so good. Like, I've got it. I just stuck it on easy so that the combat's not really anything, because the combat in that game's not particularly great. It's just like generic beat 'em up so far anyway. And I would rather just batter through the combat to get to the cool like story stuff, and like the investigation stuff. It's not like totally in depth, and it's not as, I wouldn't say it's as advanced as like what it is even in Phoenix Wright or anything like another detective lawyery type game. But it's fine. Like, it's interesting, like having to like go, oh, there's a photo here. You need to find like the evidence parts on this photo, and you have to like look around and go like, oh yeah, look at that. And stuff like that. I like that type of stuff. But yeah, I'm enjoying the whole like the Yakuza story that's going on here. Like people potentially being framed and trying to investigate and see who the real killer might be and things. So I'm liking that a lot. But I was playing it like one afternoon this week. It must have been yesterday, maybe day before. And I was like, I'm really tired, like, 'cause it was so warm, and I was like, I wasn't nodding off because I was bored, right? It's just it's at times that game there's a lot of story bits in it, as you'll know from playing Yakuza. There's a lot of story bits and they're quite long, and you need to kind of pay attention to so you know what's going on. So I'm like, I'm probably too tired to play this just now. I'm going to try something else. So I went and had a dig around like my PS5/4 games, see what I could play, and I was like, I came up with an interesting challenge for myself, right? And this challenge lasted me maybe like 10 minutes. So I was like, what if, right? Because I looked through the PlayStation Plus collection, and I was like, I own all these games. I wonder if I could beat all of them. And I started going through them, and I'm like, okay, so I've beaten Detroit, I've beaten Uncharted 4, I've beaten Until Dawn, like, and so on and so forth. I'm like, I could beat Fallout, I could beat Mortal Kombat 10, no problem. And going through them like that, like I could beat this, that, and this, and like Final Fantasy 15, I've already beaten that. I'm like, okay, like I'm maybe like, I don't know, halfway. Like I've maybe beaten 10 of these games, and there's only another 10 to go. What would be the stumbling blocks here? So like Bloodborne's in there. Like I'm a good chunk of the way through Bloodborne. Okay, Bloodborne seems achievable. I'm not a million miles away from beating that, so I will do that. What would be the hardest one outside of that? I was like, oh, Crash Bandicoot's here. Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3, the Insane trilogy is there. And I'm like, that's quite tough, but like, I mean, I'm sure I might have beaten these back in the day. Quickly after playing the game, I realised that I definitely hadn't. I'm like, I'll do this. So like, I booted up Crash, loaded my save. I'm on like fucking World 1, level 4 or something like that. And well, I'm still early in the game. It's not going to be too bad. Fucking hell, that game's hard. Holy shit. Like, that's too hard, that game. So that's why my challenge lasted about 10 minutes. I think I played the game for maybe like an hour on this one level where it's like you need to bounce up and up and up and up and up and up, and if you miss a platform, you fall all the way back down. Then you're going up, and then you need to go along to the side and down. And I'm like, this does not Crash Bandicoot. Like Crash Bandicoot to me is always like the running at or away from the screen, like either auto running or whatever, and try to avoid obstacles and things, and that's fun. Like doing it side scrolling isn't fun, and obviously this is in the first game. I'm like, this sucks. Did not enjoy it. Also, like I find the hitboxes are just like a wee bit. They're just seem a wee bit off. Like I'm getting killed by the fucking tail of a turtle. Like why can't I stamp on the tail of a turtle? Like how does that make any sense? Like how does the tail of a turtle kill me? Like if Crash Bandicoot stamps on the tail of a turtle, then yeah. And I tried to do the wax, and like because his feet hit before I start spinning, like nope, dead. So I don't like the way that the interaction happens either. Like so, yeah. Obviously old game. Old game is old. Very archaic sort of design there, and it's fucking hard as hell. I nearly beat the level a couple of times, but like I just found I didn't have enough lives, and just but when you get to game over, and then it's all the way back to the beginning, you've got to do all that beginning part again. The level is so fucking long, man. Like, oh my god, fuck that. So that my challenge ended there. So no, and I don't think I can do that. Maybe I'll look at it again in the future, but it did wake me up because I got so annoyed at it. So if you're tired and you want to be alert and awake when you're playing a game, try and play a level of Crash Bandicoot because you get so pissed off with it that you'll be completely awake. Yeah, so played that. Also played Dodgerman. I tried Worms Rumble on Game Pass. Did not like it. Terrible game. Can go and die in a fire. Horrible. It does not feel like Worms at all. It feels like 2D Fortnite, which is terrible. Awful, awful game. Did not like it. Can be normal Worms any day of the week. Like what Worms, like WMD or like Open Warfare. Like these games are fucking fun. Like even in this day and age, like playing in multiplayer, like me and Fraser played it. I think last year at one point, with a couple of his pals, and like we had a fucking great time playing that game. It was awesome. It was really funny. And then the last thing I played and I did finish DLC this week for Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I I don't know if I want to talk spoilers here, but there may be like some quasi spoiler-ish type things. So if you don't want to know anything about the DLC for Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is called Intermission, tune it out now. But yeah, so this is the Yuffie DLC. I'd pretty much done the first chapter last week. I was just near the end of it. I went and finished the first chapter and then did the second chapter. Now it's kind of a weird one, right? Because the first chapter is all like set in the Midgar slums, and then the second chapter is pretty much all set in the Shinra building, which are both locations that we've been to before in 7 Remake. So, but the first set of locations in the slums, like those are reused assets, 100%, but just tarted up a bit. And the Shinra building ones, though, I don't remember seeing any of these areas in 7 Remake originally. I could be wrong, but like I played a lot of that game and I don't remember seeing any of these areas. So it seems all new for the Shinra building stuff, apart from maybe the lobby, but that's only in a cutscene. Now, combat in this game is great. It's fast. It's fluid as fuck. And obviously you've still got your menuing system for using your abilities, like your spells and your like special attacks and things, and you got your limit breaks and all that, and using your items and things. Great, loved it. Like fantastic combat. It's like it does make you feel like you're playing Advent Children. It's so cool. You've got some team up moves as well that you can do with Sonin. I kind of spoke a bit about that stuff last week, but it continued on just being really fun combat and not like too difficult to get your head around either. And even with the like marginal changes to how Yuffie works, she's not that much different from the other characters in the in 7 Remake, like when you're playing as Tifa or Aerith or anything. Not that different. She's got a better ranged attack, and you can kind of chop and change between like having a ranged attack and like a close combat, because you can throw a shuriken and then you can jump in and retrieve it and do some attacks and then jump back out and use it as a ranged weapon, which is cool because like Cloud doesn't, I don't recall him really having that, neither with Tifa or Aerith, and obviously Barret was just like, I've got a fucking gun attached to my arm. But the game kind of takes place, like I was saying last week, basically before the plate falls, right up until the point where the plate falls, and that's like the end of the game when you come out the Shinra building after having fought the last boss, and then Yuffie just like, she's had a bad fucking time, like in the Shinra building, shit's gone down, it's been a bad fight, and then she comes out and the plate fucking just drops, and she's like, you're seeing her like above it, and it's like, holy fuck, it's like, it's just carnage, obviously, because there's just fire and flames everywhere and just destruction. And you're like, wow, because obviously I don't think you've really seen it from that angle when you were playing as Cloud and Barret and that. So it's interesting to see that from a different perspective. But after that, I'm like, how did they kind of wrap this up then? Because they did weird things in this one as well, where they introduced like this brand new like villains just out of nowhere. Like there's this guy, like I can't remember his name, but like he just appeared kind of near the end of the game, and it's like, oh, here's this guy. Like, I'm like, oh, this is going to be the last boss, and he's got all this like purple sort of goo that he uses, and he basically like uses the goo to turn like soldiers into like monsters. All right, okay, weird, but sure. But he's got like a sort of BDSM mask like over his face. It's very strange. Like it's like a white straps along here and along here and along here and over his mouth. But you can still hear him fine. Like, okay. But very strange. And he looks very anime with all his hair. And he's got like, there's him and then he's got a brother that's in the game as well, but you don't get to fight him. So those two guys are obviously going to play into the story at some point later on as new characters for you to fight against. So it's cool that they're kind of introducing that here. What the coolest thing about this for me though was like, apart from the graphics and the fighting, like all that's great. Coolest thing about it though for me, the fucking end cutscene is, it's the beginning of the next game basically. They're like, oh, and like now that you're done with Yuffie's story for right now, like what are our other friends up to? I'm like, oh my god! As soon as it cuts to like outside Midgar, like big sandy plain, and then there's like 5 characters walking away. I'm like, oh, here we go. And yeah, actually, remember what we were talking about last week?
Road to Junon. Check out that episode last week's.
Yes. So they like, obviously I hadn't played it at that point, but that's basically what they do. There's a road, and they're like, yeah, we're going to Calm. And they're like, are we going to walk all the way? And they're like, yeah, we're going to walk all the way. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're going to watch them walk to Calm. Awesome. Like, I'm fucking down for that and just listen to them chatting. But then they end up getting picked up by a car. So there's cars outside in the top of the map here, which there was never cars in this part of the map on in the original game. There was no car. I mean, there was no actual real car in the game at all. You had the Bronco that you could sort of drive over land, like the broken plane. It was a broken plane and you drove it along the land. Bizarre. Like a wee car, and somehow it fitted 7 people in it. You're like, okay. But they get picked up by the fucking Chocobo farmer guy. And I'm like, oh my god, like that's the Chocobo farmer guy. Like this is cool as shit. And yeah, like awesome fucking play this. Like it's so good. And so it basically gives you the intro for the next game. That's obviously going to be in the next game because you can't just go to like, oh, we're in Cam. Like what? What's Cam? Why did we go here? How did we get here? But that's obviously what they're doing with the beginning of the next game. It's kind of like, do you remember in what was it? I think it was Ant-Man maybe, the movie, and they showed you like a clip from like Civil War at the end of the movie. It's like that. They're like, here's a clip from the next movie. Like, oh, cool. I'm fucking all the way down for this. And it's like the only point in the game where it goes like, gameplay recording is blocked because you've entered a blocked scene. I'm like, oh, okay. So they obviously didn't want that getting out there just yet.
It's definitely happened in films quite a lot, and you've seen the start, and it just definitely start. But it's cool they've done it, but I think it's a wee bit preemptive. I don't think we're seeing Final Fantasy VII at all, like for a while now. Maybe we'll see a clip of it next year.
It's coming next year. Coming out.
Oh, I don't think it is, but I think we see it next year.
Yeah.
I think 2023 would be hopeful for it. And we've got 16 that's supposed to be coming as well.
I mean, I don't care about 16 when they keep doing shit like this. Like,
Oh, I definitely care about 16. New's always better. This is just a redo of an old game.
No, this is
absolutely
a brand new game.
Nah, it's not a brand new game. You still play as Cloud. He's not a new character. Nah, they still have to follow
bets are off.
Nah, they still have to follow some sort of path. I mean, like, I've played a chunk of it and they followed the beats. It's good, but it's still a remake. 16's all fresh, all new characters, new story. Give me the new stuff.
Yeah, but what if they suck? These guys are
That's pessimistic. This is pessimistic pessimism, so you can get in the sea. They're the classic characters. New is always better.
But new Cloud.
It's not new. He's the exact fucking same. He's Dua. He's Dua. He always was Dua. Exact same characters, which is fine that they've done that. They've not changed the personalities of any of them, but it's still quite a hothead dick. Oh my goodness, voice acting, because they didn't have voice acting space on the disc, Andy. Get a grip. No. They didn't even have arms. They had fucking squares. Like when they said Barrett had a gun arm, I'm like, does he? Like they all look like they've got gun arms. So yeah.
But yeah, like I love this DLC. It was fantastic. It took me 8 hours to complete it. 8 hours to beat it.
That's about right.
I could go back and do more. I probably won't though. I might go back and replay Final Fantasy VII Remake again at some point, but I'm not in any particular rush to do that. But yeah, like the graphics on the PS5 are awesome. I did try the 2 different modes just to see what they looked like. And by default, it puts you into performance mode. So like that's the prioritized frame rate mode. And because of the way the combat works in this game, like the combat's so fast that you actually need to see the fast frames. You need them. So I changed it to the other mode. It's like it felt like she's moving about this. It just feels so clunky, and I'm like, nah, can't do it. So just leave it in the mode that it puts it into automatically, and don't even bother looking at the other mode. Honestly, like it's not worth it at all. Like,
this applies to 75% of all games. That performance mode feels more as if it's the upgrade. Especially, I would say that applies definitely in console. I can't comment for PC, but the majority of games I've played, the performance mode with frame rate is far better than the graphics mode because the difference is negligible. We tested it on Avengers, for example, on Series X. 60 frames per second makes the game feel new.
It does. I think it does depend on the game. Like, I don't think with Avengers you don't lose very much, Final Fantasy as well. You don't lose very much, like in terms of visual fidelity, by putting it onto that mode at all.
Spider-Man, you don't.
I found Spider-Man you did because
You don't. You
lost
still get the
your-
rays. You look, reflections when you're swinging fast. Like honestly, see when you're being Spider-Man, you're still getting the sun rays, but you're getting 60 frames per second flips in the air. You're not Spider Looker. You're Spider-Man. Like he doesn't sit in buildings and just go, "This is a nice city." So what? Yeah, I know. Andy Spider-Man does, but he's definitely not Ultimate Spider-Man. So like he's maybe Spider-Ham. So like the main, what I'm talking about in that game, the reason it applies is because the majority of Spider-Man isn't walking about the streets. It's swinging through the rooftops and doing flips on the way because you can, on the way to your objective. When you're doing that, right, but that's why you're not Spider-Man. So when you're, but you understand what I mean, and that's Spider-Man's moveset. And see when you're doing that on the way to objective in 60 frames per second, buttery smooth, guys. Sure, see when you stop and you're on top of a building, if you're doing photo mode, change it to graphics and you'll get some lovely reflections like Andy said, you'll get this. But it's not, again, I don't think it's as huge as you've just said it is. It's not a big thing because there's reflections. It's more like a blurred picture on the window, and there's sun rays. It's not God rays or 4K rays. You do know. You're just at it.
It was something. No, it was something else, man. Like when you're looking in,
I
when you're looking in a
completely.
building, right? Everything's fucking exactly replicated in the reflection. You're like, holy
but you
shit,
can only
there's
look
a
at a
lot
small area in a building, but not every building's reflective, Andy. It'd be different if this was Mirror's Edge, but everything was the edge of a mirror. I would understand then, but it's not. It's like there's a couple of mirrored buildings. The rest of it, fine. But how often does Spider-Man stop to look at fucking puddles in real life? If you're playing this as Spider-Man, fire on the 60 frames per second mode and enjoy it. When you're on the top of a building, if you want to see the sunset, or you want to look in a fucking building to see cars behind you, because I think that's Spider-Man's main power once you get bitten, was seeing reflections or looking in puddles. The Amazing Puddle Man. That's Andy. That's Andy's new superhero name, the Amazing Puddle Man.
Yeah.
The puddle gazer.
I played Miles on quality mode, and I thought it was great. Loved it.
Of course, but you tend to look at a lot of water in these games. But anyway, I think for the majority of games, I'll reiterate my statement, and I think you stand by it. The majority of games right now, performance and frame rate over graphics right now, because the graphics are at a point where they still look great. And sometimes when a game's based on movement, I would say for any like Devil May Cry, things like that going forward, 60 frames. This is my worry about Bayonetta 3. Like, because of the advancements, we're not getting this game to next year, minimum next year. And you're going to be playing that in a locked 30 FPS when there's a potential we could have had another Devil May Cry shown at the same E3. Like, you're possibly getting 120 FPS Devil May Cry. I don't think that's out of the realms of possibility because that game's not open world.
120 maybe, you could do 120.
Yeah, exactly. And you're getting that and seeing how buttery smooth it is, and then you're getting Bayonetta like. I know a joke because Platinum Games are great at what they do. I'm sure they'll make it look great, but again, that's when the Switch is going to start slowing down. But like I said, Bayonetta 3 could be a swan song for the Switch. Like, who knows? But yeah, anyway, frame rate is next gen for me at the moment. See, until they produce a game where it's like, holy fuck. Do you know when it's going to hit? I can't remember the name of the game. I think it's a funny word, but it looks kind of like maybe like a Horizon Breath of the Wild style open world game, and it's like jaw-droppingly good, the sort of things that we've seen from it. We've only seen like a teaser sort of thing. See, when it's an open world that's not heavily focused on fast-paced combat, that's when I think that the graphics mode's going to be, look at this. See if they can lock a graphics mode at 60, Andy. Like if they can give me 4K 60, which I don't think they can, that's when it's going to be holy shit.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's good that you finished intermission. What's your next plans there before we end up? And what is our next plans for gaming? What is your next target to finish? Is it Crash Bandicoot, Andy? Is it Cuphead? Are you finally going to finish Cuphead?
Never.
No, never. What?
It is harder than Crash. Like Jesus, I think if I really tried, I could probably beat that. Like beat that level at Crash and continue on and do it.
I-
But I'm not in the mode to go like I'm fucking beating my head up a wall so I beat this.
No, I was just joking about Crash, but no. So what are you gaming on over the next week? What are you planning on finishing? What are you aiming towards? What's your next game? What's your next big one? Are you waiting for something coming out? Because I know there's not much in your pre-order list this summer. What's your summer gaming schedule looking like starting next week now that you've finished Final Fantasy?
I'm gonna play Judgment. Judgment is going to be my
Cool.
game for sure.
Awesome.
I'm going to play that, and I don't really know what else. Like just chip away at things, whatever comes to Game Pass. I do want to try the Dark Alliance game that just came to Game Pass.
Yeah, I've heard mixed, which has been polite about it.
Yeah, I heard Fred talking about it, and he was not particularly positive on it. But from what he was saying, it sounded very like the old Baldur's Gate Dark
I
Alliance
think that's
games, so
most reviews are saying if you like the classics, this
Yeah.
is a classic, which means dated.
I love
Yeah,
those
you
games.
loved.
So like,
You loved.
it plays exactly like that. And
I
that
bet you
game,
loved Crash at
those
one
games-
point.
No, I liked Crash 3, but I never really bothered. Like I did play them, but like I never like loved them. I never look back on them and go like, oh my god, that's my favorite game or whatever. But no, Baldur's Gate like on the PS2, probably outside of Final Fantasy was probably my favorite game on the PS2, and it has the best water in any game ever. Like the way it's done is-
doesn't now. Probably doesn't now, but
Oh, at the time, like it blew my fucking mind. I'm like, oh my god, like he's moved through the water. And the water's going like, what the hell is this? This is insane. That's where my love for water started. Is in that game. So I can't wait to see what water tech they have in this game. Probably none. It's also where the first level is ice.
I
There's
just,
no water in it.
I just remember having so much fun playing Assassin's Creed Liberation, and every time I looked up when you were at the old house when you were staying over that night, and you were just still looking at the water from the crow's nest, I was like, Andy's fucking weird, man. Like that's all I kept thinking. I was like, what the fuck is he doing? I'm playing Assassin's Creed and I'm killing guys, and oh, look, Andy, and you're like, yeah, that's cool. Look, I'm just checking, seeing what I can see, and I'm like, still water, mate. Still water. You're in the fucking sea. What? Like, oh, I did play another game.
Okay.
Sea of Thieves, Andy. I forgot. I played.
yeah.
I forgot till we
got a
talked about
message.
water.
I got a message from Fraser. I don't know. It was like 11:30 one night, and he's like, "Do you want to come play Sea of Thieves?" And I'm like, "That's weird." No.
It's because I was on, and like
Yeah.
randomly Fraser had messaged me saying, "Do you want to play Sea of Thieves?" And I'm like, "I do want to play this new Jack Sparrow stuff." Listeners of the show know our opinion of Sea of Thieves. It looked cool, but every time we've played it, we've deleted it the same night or the day after. So I was like, yeah, cool. And then we're playing, and he's like, did you say to Andy? I'm like, no, I didn't think about. Andy doesn't. I know we want to play Jack Sparrow, but I didn't expect to be on. So, and he says, message him. I went, no, you message him. You know what I'm like. I was like, you message him, and he'll come on. And then you said no, and I'm like, well, we'll play, Fraser. Do you need more people than me? And he did. He asked you. So like, we played. So, Sea of Thieves to me, when I think about Sea of Thieves, is fucking around, getting drunk for a bit, spewing in each other, sailing, crashing the boat. This is me and Andy's experience. Crashing the boat, getting to an island, spending way too long trying to locate our objective and carrying chicken coops or treasure back to the boat, sailing back, trying not to get cannonballed to death, and then sometimes getting mauled by other pirates who steal our one treasure chest, and then feeling like we've accomplished nothing. And I went, do you know what? Nah. So the graphics on the Series X,
Parts of that were fun, to be fair.
they were fun.
Learning to sail the ship is probably the most fun part of it. Like
Yeah.
working out how you do it. It just puts you in and it doesn't tell you fuck all.
I will say
Like
this.
working it out with 3 people is awesome fun.
I will say this. On Series X, it looks fucking amazing. We tried it out when they first upgraded it, and we both said that night, this looks good, man, now. Looks really nice. I will say this. Andy is a preferred shipmate than Fraser, because me and Andy work in tandem. Andy knows how to read the map and navigate. He'll be like, left, mate, turn a wee bit right, turn a wee bit left. Fraser will go, look at the map, go, it's a wee bit left, and then go back out. And I'm like, right, where am I at now? He goes, I don't know. I goes, what are you doing? He goes, I'm looking at the food barrels. I'm like, can you go back and like, please look at the fucking map and tell me what direction? He goes, yeah, kind of more right. And then he'll be at the front of the ship. I goes, Fraser, I need, like, we're navigating choppy waters here. So anyway, that's my niggle about Fraser aside. I'm not sorry, don't take it back. It was frustrating. So we played the, I don't know the name of
what
it.
What you're saying is you needed me there as well to be the balance.
No, just Fraser's assistance on the ship wasn't great. He didn't raise anchor. He didn't put the anchor down. He fixed the ship. But he didn't deal with the sails. You know how sometimes you'll turn the sails for me, like left and right, or like I'll do it for you, and then I'll look at the map and we'll take turns and we'll do bits and pieces, and then I'll get bored and jump off the ship inevitably. So, at the start, I went, oh, cool, a shark, let's kill a shark. So I jumped in the water, we stabbed the shark, got the shark meat, cooked the shark meat, then we get drunk, we done the usual stuff. You know, it's kind of tradition when you start Sea of Thieves, you fuck about for a bit. And then you kind of sail for an unnecessary amount of time into like this portal. After an unnecessary amount of time where the woman gives you a quest, it's the woman with the barnacle kind of octopus hair from like Captain Jack Sparrow, that woman. And it's like, just fucking let me skip, but you couldn't. So we get there and we go in and you sail down the Sea of the Damned. There's some platform and you have to kind of use like this green light to light lanterns, and like it opens pathways and this basic platforming, which was okay, but I kept falling, it was annoying. You have to time your jumps a bit better, and I keep forgetting about the run button in Sea of Thieves because it feels more slower paced, so some of them you had to run and jump. But we did it, and then you get to the ghost ship that's kind of going down the water. You kind of let it out and you end up on like an island where there's like a skeleton in a cage, and the skeleton says let me down, so you have to do basic platforming again. There's like a ghost crew of pirates in a boat having shanties at the pub. There's like a skeleton in his bed. You raise the magnifying glass and it shows you a bit where there's buried treasure. You find a chest there. You get the skull down and it's just the skull, and you have to find a body for it, so you carry him up the lighthouse and you have to light the way for the ferryman's ship. So you have to like use the green lighthouse to light the to guide the ferryman. And the ferryman is obviously, remember when you die in Sea of Thieves, Andy, and you end up in the kind of ghost ship?
Yeah.
So that's the boat you're on with the dead people.
Yeah.
And the ship sails and you kind of explore and you end up going, he says don't do that, and you put the lantern in the middle and it opens up the bottom, and then you've seen the trailer, Jack Sparrow's in the cage, and then you have to help Jack escape, and then we had to sail back and we ended up wrecking the ship and stuff. So we only done the prologue, but the prologue took a good hour at least. I'll tell you something, if this is how Sea of Thieves had launched with, I'm not even talking about with Pirates of the Caribbean content, if they'd launched with this kind of a story with an actual purpose, direction, fun, not directly co-op having to like swim with crates and all this bullshit, protect each other, like there was some fighting, there was some platform. This would have been probably close to being my game of the year it came out. Like that's how good this actually is, Andy. I played it and I went, do you know what? Sea of Thieves is fun, but it's taken what, 3 years to get to this. So I'm glad it's here, I'm not complaining, but this is what it should have launched like, with a fucking campaign story. And we've always said that, Sea of Thieves, it needs to have a story, because basically when you launch it up, you go to the job board and it says like, find the 7 chickens or find the rock at such and such. And it's like, sailing there's part of it, and you end up playing your music, battling some other ships, and you can battle things, but there's no direct story. It's just kind of jobs for pirate crews to unlock stuff. The fact that this has got a genuine story, it ties in some of the lore from Sea of Thieves as it is, it doesn't feel like a tacked on thing. Jack Sparrow and that, it seems to fit the universe really well, and I'm like, why didn't it have its own original story with the pirates in game? Like, all the pirates about, remember there was the thing where it was the legendary pirate door you could get to in the pub, and that was cool to try and find it, but there was no story to get you there. It was just rinse and repeat random missions and grind it fucking out till you get enough points. This should have launched with a story like this, and it would have blew people's minds. It's Rare, for fuck's sake, that makes it. Masters of cartoony, 2D fun storytelling. What they need to do after this, they need to periodically, and I would happily pay for story campaigns for Sea of Thieves. If they say the next one's like Redwater Rising, And it doesn't have to be Pirates of the Caribbean. Just make a story like this, like a pirate legend of a forgotten island, and you travel through red mist and you end up at this new island, and then there's places to visit, there's villagers, and there's like, you need to go here and do this. There's a talking fucking skull you carry about. Do you know what the skull reminded me of? Remember the head in God of War, the kind of the god that get the head cut off that talks to you? It's funny like that, and I'm like, so why can't I have that guy as a companion, and like he talks me through missions, and it's like, oh, you have to take down the sea creature, blah blah, you have to this. So like there was boat battles against Davy Jones, like we get shipboarded by fucking sea creatures like from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. We had to fight them while Jack Sparrow's in the background swashbuckling. Why don't they just make the legendary pirate your sort of guy that comes with you and fills in that role? Like, you don't need the license for every one of these, but if they continue this path, Andy, and feed me more content for Sea of Thieves, this is going to be a game I play regularly. The only reason I didn't play it more this week is because tonight we had the show, obviously, and Tasha was at our dance class last night, and the night before Tasha was working to 9, so I had the kids myself, so it was very, if Leo wakes up I have to go upstairs. But uninterrupted Sea of Thieves, like, that's my jam. Like, I was considering playing it tonight. I'm not going to it this time of night, but we need to jump on this, Andy. I don't even mind redoing the prologue with you. You will have a fucking blast. You will be like, you were right, this is what Sea of Thieves needed. Like, new areas, new locations. The island doesn't, every island in that fucking place, I don't care what you say, it looks the fucking same to me. There's always a path up to the top. Sometimes they're bigger or smaller. There's always a cave system through the middle. You go to the coastline and the skeletons that come out the sand, it's rinse and fucking repeat. There's occasionally a snake. This was completely new locations with puzzles, with cryptic clues, and I'm like, this is what I needed. No wonder Skull and Bones fucked off if this is what they were here for. I did see a funny thing that Major Nelson had to apologise though for saying to the Sea of Thieves guys that they're doing so well that they don't need silly tacked on licensed game content, and he said all I can do is apologise and well done for your poker face, because he obviously knew it was happening, the director of Sea of Thieves, because I don't know if that's his quote unquote what he said, but he basically said, you guys are doing so well that you don't even need Sea of Thieves. You know, you don't need to bother with things like that. Do you know what I mean? Like referring to doing licensed content for the likes, sort of thing. So he backed down and he said he apologised, blah blah, and he says it just proves to you when people ask me questions, I don't know everything that's going on at Microsoft. You know, he gets told stuff in advance, but he didn't know that. Yeah. This is one of the coolest add-ons that's changed the entire outlook of a game for me ever I can remember in my life, Andy. Like, I always thought Sea of Thieves had something underlining like you, but I thought the core gameplay was fucking dull as a donut. Every time we played it, it was the same shit. Yeah, it was fun fucking about with you, but in general, playing the game was like, no.
It was the tedium of the missions, like going and collecting the chickens and going and taking them to
with no backstory. It's just like hand in your quest and now buy yourself a silver compass. It's like that's all. But the fact that this is kind of a story, and I'm like, oh, what I'm going to have to, like, because Jack Sparrow's obviously a ghost, so he's in a ghost ship, which happens in the movies. Jack Sparrow's died before, so you're obviously going to have to help him come back to life, and he had some sort of sea trinket that one of the creatures took, so he's like, oh, he's made off with it. And I said to Fraser, is that Johnny Depp? It's not, but it sounds a lot like him, so they've done great with the voice acting. But like the gameplay, I'm like, again, I'll repeat my statement. If Sea of Thieves had launched, even with its own, even if it was only a 4-hour campaign, but it was using the in-game pirates, this would have made this game as a service a lot more palatable, because you could then jump in and do like, oh, here's your mission from, like, we'll call him Legendary Pirate, Jim the Pirate wants you to do this quest with him. You jump on with him and it's a story. It doesn't have to be long. It can be an hour-long section like the prologue of Pirates of the Caribbean was, and I would be like, this is the fucking tits. I love this game, but like you said, all we've had is message boards with go and steal some treasure, go and fight a fort. Like, that's the most exciting it's been. It's a lot easier now controlling a two-man ship than it used to be. The two-man ship used to sink really quick and it used to be awful. Me and Fraser took that ship through the worst of seas. The screenshots we sent was phenomenal. It was really funny to see that the Series X had a green tint, which looked awesome, compared to Fraser in the PC that was more like sunset-y kind of looking. And I don't know if that's just like you said. I know you joke saying Xbox, but I don't know if it is a colour palette for the Xbox. But honestly, we need to play this. I'll happily play the prologue. I need to finish the storyline with Fraser. If me and you can do the prologue, and then we get Fraser in, we can do the rest of it as three of us. Because the fight with Davy Jones' ship would have definitely been easier with three people, because you have to man the cannons and it kind of pops up one side and then you have to run to the other and do that, and then in the middle he dives, because you know how that ship can go underwater with the barnacles, and all the sea creatures appear and you have to fight them off, and then it's back to the cannons, and it would be easier for one loading the cannons, one fighting the sea creatures, and one firing. So a lot of fun to be had there. I would love this, and I've not looked into spoilers and I don't want to. I would love it to have some sort of rewards, like you could have the Black Pearl sort of sales for your own ship, because you know you can customize your own ship. I would love some in-game Black Pearl stuff, or Jack Sparrow costume for my character, like because I mean we were day one on this thing. We played this early, and like I think we're going to have a blast if we can get a night playing it. But yeah, I'm sorry for adding that in really late on to the day, but Sea of Thieves is one. I know I just asked Andy what he's continuing playing. He said Judgment. For me, I'm ploughing through Metroid Samus Returns. That's my main focus. I have got Ratchet and Resi 8 still sitting there, but if you've ever listened to the show or know me, you know that Resi and Ratchet are two of my favourite franchises. I will always go back to these games. I mean, I only recently completed this year Ratchet 2016. Remember, I went back and I went, do you know, I'm going to finish it. Resi 7, don't know if you remember, I only finished that game last year. I bought that day one as well. So yeah, anyway, that's what I'm looking forward to playing, is more Metroid. I'm just so hyped for Dread. Cannot wait for that fucking game. And I'll probably play some more Smash, but that doesn't count for anything. And Mario Golf, because I need to brush up, because I'm going to beat Fraser. Bad. So bad. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in and watching. I would love to direct you to Andy for all the things that we are doing throughout the week. However, we are now only doing podcast and Friday night news, so you're going to have a break from us. If anything, stay posted on Twitter, and if one of us is playing something, you will see the video up there. We recently got featured in Intellivision's series about roundups for the Intellivision Amico. So thank you very much, guys, because they gave us a shout out. If you found us from them, let us know in the comments below. If you said I'm here from the Amico video, thanks for sticking around to the end of this one. But I was so chuffed. Like, I don't know how I managed to come across the video. It was one of my suggested ones, and for some reason I clicked on it because I was like, this is E3 stuff, and I clicked on it and I skipped through a bit and I went, that's me, that's Andy. And of course, as you've watched any of these shows, I'm practically like this for it, but like, it was nice of them to feature us, because there was plenty of folk covering it, and we get two spotlights, two wee snippets of us talking. I think we fairly covered it. Check out some of our E3 coverage. Our cooldown, if you're listening to this at work out loud in front of the kids, please do put headphones on, because the Fraser element to that equation led to some shenanigans. But yes, we will be back definitely for the news. There may be something streamed tomorrow or the next night. I don't have anything to unbox anymore because we're now doing payday pickups. Andy, do you have a rough date for when we may do payday pickups? What day do you think? Because obviously payday for me is Wednesday. When are you thinking about doing it? This is your gig. I want you hosting this one.
Payday for me is next Monday.
Next Monday.
Like the 5th. So sometime in the weekish after that.
So the second week of July, maybe?
Probably, yeah. Cool,
so you've got a few weeks before that, but I've picked up a few things that I'm going to include in that video. I'm going to keep them aside. What's that?
Secret.
It's annoying because I really do want to talk about them with you, but I can't at the moment. So like, I know I could technically, but I do want to show you some stuff you've not seen. But yeah, I love, specifically, I'll give them a shout out here. I know Andy likes them too. It's Reggie and Metal Jesus Rocks do the pickup videos. They do them either monthly or bi-monthly, and they're really, really good at it. I really enjoy seeing those two sitting down. I don't know, family life. I would love to say one day we'll be able to do it in the same room together and come together either at yours or at mine and just do a pickups video there like they do, because that would be the goal. But at the moment, with kids, COVID, rules changing constantly and work, it's just not feasible at the moment. So we will do it on the show here. It'd be cool sharing some stuff with Andy and seeing what he's picked up. The thing is, Andy could come out with a treasure trove because of where he works. He'd be the sniper of all the good stuff there, because I used to do that at my work. I was like, yeah, it's going to my shelf. Yeah, it's not going to. So I'm interested to see what Andy's picking up. So we'll probably do one of them a month. We'll probably do it every month, because like by the second week of the month, I've always bought something gaming related, and I know fine well you usually pick up one or two things here or there, so it'll be cool to do that. That's an interesting addition to the line. So like I said, we're kind of restructuring the YouTube. I know we went heavy in Monday to Friday schedule, but like we said in the news on Friday there, if you missed it, check out in the channel. I think I can't remember what I named that video. Splatoon 3, check that one out. I think basically we came to the decision we want to make videos that we enjoy watching as well. I don't personally watch streaming. I know Andy doesn't regularly watch streaming. He watches more than me.
Now and again.
So
I like watching Fraser doing streaming, and sometimes I'll dip in and watch Kind of Funny.
yeah, and I'm not saying we're bad at streaming. I think we can be entertaining, but I think for me, I don't enjoy making a stream unless it's, like I said, a review. So check out my Alex Kidd review. Apologies for the sound. That game's music in game is so fucking loud, it's unreal. So I really do need to do that and practice on the PlayStation. I am going to be doing a follow-up Alex Kidd video this week, actually, so you will see that in the channel. So that'll be my second thoughts. So it's going to, I've named the reviews. So it's first impressions, second thoughts, and final note. That's a 3-stage review. So second thoughts of Alex Kidd will be this week. Ratchet second thoughts will be soon as well, because that's almost a month I've had it. Again, this will vary on the length of the game or how long I think I'll be playing it. So like Ratchet's a long burn, so you might not get a final thoughts on that for a while, but you'll get a second thoughts on it pretty soon. Alex Kidd, I am going to do the second thoughts, and then the week after you're going to get the final on that one, because I've kind of made my mind up with that game very quick. Fucking bear is what the game should be called. Anyway, if you like what you've seen here, please click a subscribe or like. All these YouTube algorithm things help us get an audience. Thank you very much for Gordon Fiala. I think the Venn diagram he's talking about was the fight thing in the Monster Hunter Stories 2 for watching, but thank you for popping in here. Hi Fraser, as always, because I know he does skip through these videos at least, because he did comment on, remember how I said if Fraser, if you're watching this, comment hello. He did comment hello in Friday's news video, so fair play to the boy. And we will catch you all on Friday definitely for the news, and stay posted for my second thoughts on Alex Kidd, soon to be on the channel. On behalf of myself and Andy, a good evening
And a good night.
Nice.